This is Mark Yarick. He's with the Small Business Development Center. They're a nonprofit arm of the U.S. Small Business Administration. So we've been working with at the division just to try to pull together some business planning and financial resources to provide the aquaculture industry and small businesses like the oyster industry. And Mark has been a great contact. He comes from Live Oak. And although the Small Business Development Center really serves small businesses of all kinds, so although they really work with all businesses, Mark's really an ag expert, and he's here in our backyard in Live Oak. So he's going to come out and give us a 1,000-foot view of the resources he's going to be able to provide. And hopefully we can set up some workshops in the future to go into a little bit more of a deep dive on some of these resources he has.
Everybody know this reference? I actually have the video embedded in here, and every time I watch it, I just crack up laughing. But in the interest of time, we won't show it, okay? So, but I was thinking about this when I was setting this thing up, and that was the title that came to mind, right? When you're talking about lending, show me the money, right? I work with small businesses all the time, and that's what about the first question everybody says when they hit the door is, show me the money, right? So that's what we're going to talk about, and we don't have even close to a little bit of time to get into this. So we're just going to probably hit some highlights, and then the rest of it, you have my contact information. You call me, email me, text me anytime. If you get into one of the loan programs that Patricia was just talking about, she usually kicks you back my way for help with the paperwork. So, and I put a pile of the paperwork in the back. Some of you picked it up on the way in. I only made 25 copies, which I will say, thank you guys for coming out, because it shows that you're concerned about your enterprise and that you're engaged. I've given many financial workshops where 2 people show up. So this is a great crew, and it shows your engagement in your business, and that's probably one of the keys to success. Okay. So we won't get through even close to what we need to get through on the financial and lending side today, but the SBDC is a resource that you can always contact. A lot of people like to come to me because I know a little bit more about ag, but there's SBDC folks in your area. You may have met them after the hurricane because the state runs their disaster loan program through the SBDC consultants, and we were all active in the Panhandle area right after the hurricane. So you'll hear more about the SBDC as you look at it. This was a new presentation I made just for you, and it's been on my mind for quite a while. But if you're the kind of people that take out your cell phones and take a picture of a slide and a PowerPoint, this is the picture you want, because this says it all. When I work with folks on loans, one of the other first questions they ask, besides show me the money, is how long is this going to take? Because when do you guys need your money when you go looking for it? Yesterday, that's right. And so that's why the second question, or the first question to the banker, is how long is this going to take? If you can produce these 7 documents in my hot little hand in about 15 minutes, we'll get this thing done. And I mean within a week. All right? Maybe. But in most cases, business owners can't come up with this stuff. And they certainly can't come up with it in a timely manner. And because of that, the loan process drags on and on and on. And that's sort of the work that I do. I help folks get this stuff together. If you have these documents in hand, we can take that big old fat FSA application and we can knock it out. Easy, right? But so this is the money shot. This is the picture you need on your cell phone. And the rest of the presentation, I sort of go through this, but we don't have time to do that. Maybe I'll zip through it real fast and see about some highlights. Are there any questions on this slide before I go further? If someone looks at that and says, huh? It's on the back of the flyer. Did you get a flyer? Verify that for me.
It's there.
All right. So I'm giving my information out, and that's a bad thing because I have. When we talk about these 7 things, is there anything on there that you look at and you say, I'm not really sure what that is? The debt schedule. Now, did you pick up one of those packets back there? Okay. Well, there may be some more back there, but I'll show you. Let's see. Debt schedule. There it is. Okay, so you should have, as a business owner, you should have a list of all the money that you owe somewhere at your fingertips that lists sort of these things. Now, you may not have all of them. I sent a blank one out to a dairy farmer. Any dairy farmers in here? All right, the shellfish guys say, oh, dairy farmers, right? I sent one of these out to a dairy farmer a couple of days ago. He sent it back half filled out, which, you know, if someone like I said, this is if you want to drag the process out, if someone sends you a form and you send it back half filled in, what's going to happen next? We're going to send it back and we're going to fill it out again, right? So, but you should have a schedule of your debts up to date so that you sort of know what the payoff is. The monthly payment amount is important and those things, because the bank or the lender is going to use those things to figure out what your overall debt service is. This is what you're paying out every month in debt service. That thing is going to be factored into, if we can go backwards, this great word here, the ask. Because when you're asking for a loan, you're asking to increase your debt service. So we're going to take your present debt service plus the ask, and then we're going to look at all the money you made last year, verifiable on your tax return. And we're going to say, hey, this guy could easily fund this ask. He could easily pay this back. Or they're going to say, he was in the red last year, now he's asking to go deeper in the red, and he's not going to be able to pay this back. So if you don't have a list of your present debt service, your debt schedule, then there's no way for anybody to figure that out. Does that make sense? Okay. And a lot of times it's not written down, it's not up to date. The FSA does you an extra favor by asking you to fill out a balance sheet that's even got current portion of long-term debt and accrued interest, which is a whole nother day's work for the non-accountant me to figure out, right? Sometimes I try to get around that one, okay? Any other, everybody knows the business plan is, profit and loss statement? Where's Charlie? Charlie just gave the thumbs up, because Charlie and I are working together, because I said, when Charlie and I started talking about this, I said, hey, let me get together with some shellfish guys and we'll make a generic shellfish business plan, right? And then all you have to do is sort of change it and tweak it to fit your deal, why you're different than the guy sitting next to you.
I took Matt's, anybody who was in class, I took Matt's and modified it. And it actually, I have been able to project my first year through my 5th year, my goals. I did modify it, but I have a reasonably solid business plan, boat, fuel, everything I have in there.
Sure. You can do that to run your business line.
Yep.
I'm talking about going to make a loan.
No, I have a bit, I
If
can
you got
justify
a
the
business plan
loan.
accepted with a loan for the farm.
I haven't gotten a loan yet. I've been
Okay, that's what I'm
self-sufficient,
saying.
but I
Wait
will go
till
for
you go.
loan.
But I do, you can, you have my contact information. You zip me a copy, because I told Charlie, I said, we sit down and if we get a nice feel for the industry in a business plan type sense, the way that lenders look at it, then we can replicate this thing and find some lenders, maybe even the FSA, that gets comfortable with it, and we can just keep rolling these things down.
It's a start.
Yeah,
It's something on paper.
That's
and they
great.
sell it as a start.
right,
Because
right.
You get to hear and have like the oyster farms, what's that?
Well, see, that's why your question is so great, because that's exactly the point. A business plan tells the story of the industry, and you can't expect the lenders to know every industry. And so every single new industry that comes along, they have to learn about that industry, and the business plan gets them about 10 steps further. I sort of take the information you give me, and then I have resources from industry reports that are made by like Wall Street analysts and things like that. And I can gather all that information and condense it and compile it into the business plan narrative that tells about the industry as a whole, the oyster segment, and it's like a funnel. And it comes down and talks about you and about your operation. So we just go from big down to small. And by the time the lender reads that, he feels comfortable, should feel comfortable with what you're doing. The business plan tells your story. Of course, the numbers are part of it, but also the story is part of it. This is my 5-line profit and loss income statement. 5 lines, because I like to do things simple. Sales minus cost of goods gives you your gross profit. Then we take away expenses, it gives you your net income. Very simple. We expand it out more as needed. When you're keeping your books, think about this. Cost of goods are things that are directly related to the sale of the product, okay? So anything that you can connect, sometimes called direct costs, anything you can connect to directly to the sale of the product, then that's cost of goods, which brings you to your gross profit margin. Expenses, sometimes called fixed expenses or indirect expenses. Those are things you're going to pay no matter what. How much do you pay for your AQ card? I learned something new today. Is that what it's called? AQ. How much you pay for your AQ card? $100, right? That's an expense. If you sell 1 oyster or 1,000 oysters, how much are you going to pay for your AQ card? $100. That's an expense. It doesn't go up or down with the number of oysters you sell. Most of the time, cost of goods will go up and down with your sales, okay? The reason this is important is because when you start projecting, then in order for you to project correctly, you have to know the difference between variable costs and fixed costs. And that's sort of why I use this format. And like I say, all these things we don't have enough time for today, but we're giving you, I want to give you enough information to make you want to call and ask questions. How's that? All right. By the way, in that big packet, I showed you, I have a bunch of blank forms, blank income statement, blank balance sheet, and so forth. And also the FSA form that sort of coincides to it. So if you have something of that format, then it makes it easy to fill out the loan application. The other thing that I put close to this was the Farm Schedule F. How many of you are filing on a Schedule F? Some of you. What are the other filing methods? None, right? Don't raise your hand. Anybody filing a 1065? A Schedule E? A Schedule C? S Corp? 1120S? No one's filing. You need to file. By the way, we got to go back. Number 6, documents every business owner needs to have tax returns. The lender doesn't believe you made any money unless it's on a tax return. This presents a problem because, for those of you that are filing, what do you want to show on the bottom of your tax return? A loss. Why? Why? So we don't pay taxes. What does the bank think when they see your tax return that shows a loss on it? Can you pay back a loan with a loss? No, you can't. No, you can't. This is all a conspiracy against you. You're like, I found my taxes, I keep them low, I keep my income low so I don't have to pay taxes, and then when I go to the bank for a loan so I can make more money, They say, oh, you can't pay it back. Right. It's just big circle. See if I can find that real quick. My taxes thing. Tax returns. Tax returns are a strategy. Okay? There are times when you'll show no or low income if that's your strategy. If the business is generating nice money and you're making a nice living, then away we go. But if your strategy, and when I say strategy, you need to look in your crystal ball and say, where do I want to be next year? Where do I want to be in 3 years? If I want to be getting a loan to expand or purchase another business, if I want to be selling my business in the next 1 to 3 years, then I want a healthy tax return. How much are you going to get for your business if you want to sell it when the guy that wants to buy it says, hey, can I see your tax returns? And you say, yeah, and your tax returns show a loss. How much is he going to pay you for your business? Not going to be a good exit. You want to sell your business, you need to have healthy tax returns, because then the person that's buying it has a reasonable expectation that he's going to be able to generate income from that business. So it's a strategy. It's a strategy. And strategy also includes filing on time. How many of you have an extension every year on your taxes? Good for you. You score 100 on that part of the test.
This falls underneath the commercial fishing. So the farming, you have to pay quarterly your estimated.
Right. That's for a self-employed person. Right. The last filing, though, is your tax filing that should go in April 15th. When we talk about loan strategy also, filing on time is important because we get in this part of the year, August, September. How far away are we from 2018? We're a long way away. That's ancient history. And you go to a lender and you say, look at my great 2018 tax returns. And the lender says, wait for 2019. 2018 is a long time ago. We don't really know what you're doing now. Well, I got my P&L. Well, we don't really believe that until it's on a tax return. So you're in like this loan dead zone right now. And so if you file early and you show a healthy return, then it increases your chance of getting a loan in the first or second quarter. Okay? So, and it'd be personal and tax return. The other thing I was going to show you on here, I put in the packet this Schedule F, which is what most farmers use, but you all don't. Some of you do. When you're setting up your bookkeeping and profit and loss, you could use the Schedule F to set up your expense accounts. It also makes it easy to fill in your tax form if you're using Schedule F. But those expenses also coincide pretty closely with the FSA paperwork, as I showed you in the packet. So that's sort of a little help if you're not too familiar with filling out profit and loss forms and things. Let's see what else we had on here. Anything else anyone wants to talk about? The personal financial statement sort of separates out between your business and your personal. It's not really good to intermingle the two. It gets confusing. When you're filling out, like say FSA paperwork for a loan, the business stuff in the business part, the personal stuff in the personal part. The same for going to a regular bank. Business stuff in the business part, personal stuff in the personal part. Don't list things twice. Like if you're driving your truck and you list that on the business part, and then when you come to the personal financial statement, you list the truck again, that's a problem. Either your assets are highly reported, or if you have a loan on the truck, now you have double debt, right? So just the personal financial statement helps you keep the two things separate. The FSA paperwork has a little mini personal financial statement also on the balance sheet. So I'll show you this on the startup expansion because this is what we're going to be writing the business plans for. And I'm excited about it. This is sort of an example of what I put in a business plan for a startup or an expansion budget. This is the ask, the reason that we're going to go to the bank for a loan. I want to expand my business. I want to buy some new bags. What do you call them? Bags, right? If I buy what's a whole setup of bags cost me? I'm going to start Oyster tomorrow. What's it going to cost me? What's my startup? $30,000. So that's the number that's going to be down here, 30,000. And this is going to be the line items. Because if I just go to the bank and say, give me 30 because my neighbor lady here told me if I want to get started, I need 30. And the banker's going to say, what's the 30 for? I'm going to say, I don't know. She told me I needed 30. So I just need 30. So we're going to make a list, itemized list of what's included in that 30. And so that also shows the lender that you know what you're talking about. You're not just goofing off, right? And that's the ask. And this working capital component, when we go through the financials, we figure out how much cash you're going to need to get to the point that you're making money. And we're going to add that in up front so you don't get started and then the wheels fall off. Isn't that good? So that's what I call the ask.
So what do your services cost?
You already paid for them.
Did I?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
No additional expenses associated with this?
No, ma'am. The SBDC is a resource of the Small Business Administration, so there's some federal money in there. And we have local funders. The state of Florida kicks in some money. And we're hosted by universities and community colleges around. So like UWF has a SBDC office, FAMU has an SBDC office. I'm hosted out of the University of North Florida in Jacksonville, but we cover 18 counties, I think. So, yeah, so that's the answer to that question.
So they call you and make an appointment?
They can call me, text me, email me. Yeah, and I'm far away from a lot of you all. And I have done complete deals with people without ever meeting them, just through email and back and forth. So if we're a little technical savvy and we can exchange information effectively by email or telephone, then we may not even have to travel to see each other. Not that I don't want to, but the more hours I'm on the road, the less I'm, working. So that's that story. But some people, I can't get them to communicate effectively over email or telephone, so we have to get in the zone. All right. So, but I was talking with Charlie specifically about a generic business plan that would help you all with lending, because we felt like there was enough farmers that wanted to expand or wanted to start, that a generic plan would help getting a template for all this type of information, and then you could just take that and tweak it to tell, change the story for your specific thing. And then it would also give us a chance to go through your particular numbers and get you set up to get to a lender. So, but I just need to meet with some of you to quiz you on your business and your industry so that we can get the big lines going on that. So I look forward to talking with some of you on the phone moving forward. Any other questions? I'm sorry we didn't get to do the deep dive on the balance sheet, which is like as painful as getting your teeth pulled. But I love the balance sheet, and I'll be glad to spend an hour someday giving you a workshop on the balance sheet. And no one will come. And I'll talk to myself. And
Another little tidbit for the women. If you have a business plan, there are a lot of grants that you can get for women. And you don't have to pay back from it.
yeah, grants. Yeah, the grants. Yeah. So, thank you so much.
All right, Mr. Bill, hold on. First of all, I do want to thank